the late adopter. Guys, I know what you're thinking. Capitulation going down. Is this the end of the times? Altcoins are doing minus 20-30% of the downside. Bitcoin is right now down minus 5%. After yesterday, minus 10%. So, you know, this stamp has no bottom. Yesterday, we thought the bottom might be at 35k because oversold levels and so forth. But you can see on this candle down here at middle, let me remove the red line up, red arrow. You can see here we are breaking the support level between 35.5 and 34.5. So what gives, guys? What gives? What is happening right now on the charts up here? Is this the end? And you know, it does look very, very bad, but it can get a lot worse. Now this support line between 34.5 and 35.5, we are breaking that right now, so I'm looking at 31, 32 levels that we might hit on the downside. Now this goes pretty fast, and we are already at some very, very low levels, so I don't know if we are gonna get you know, some kind of support down here at 31, 32 and then bounce, or we are gonna break even that and just, you know, continue towards downside. Yesterday on the live stream I've been explaining how there is no support between here. Between 30,000 and 20,000 there is literally no support, so I definitely do not want to fall through the 31, 32,000 levels down here on the downside down here, because if we fall down there, it's gonna be very, very bad and very, very ugly pretty quick. Now fortunately for us, we are at some kind of low levels. You know, everything is oversold as it can get oversold. A weekly time frame can definitely go a little bit more towards downside, but we're gonna see. I'm not really confident on any kind of, you know, big V-shape recovery right now just yet, because I just don't see it. Even this dump on the downside is just sticking down here. It's not recovering towards the upside. It's just kind of holding it here, and I'm expecting 31, 32 pretty soon as well. If you look at a 1 hourly time frame, you'll see that we got exactly on the dollar to the support line, went up here sideways. You can see went up here sideways to on the support, and then dropped right through the entire support over here. So this support was very significant, but unfortunately supports in these kind of days, they do break on the downside. People ask me right now, the late adopter, are we in the bear market? I don't know if we are in bear market, but we are definitely in some kind of bearish market. Okay, and there we go. You can see a lot of, you know, a lot of happening right here. Candle trying to pull back above the support line. Will it actually be able to do that or not? We can see this on the 5-minute chart. It does not have that, what are you gonna call it? It doesn't have that, you know, that strength to push up. There is not enough buyers coming in up here. Volume is high, but it's high. I think the selling volume is high, and there is no big, you know, big candle right towards the upside where it says, okay, now we are done selling. I think the selling is still going on, and we are just getting up to this first resistance up here. So we're gonna see if this actually managed to pull back above the support line. We are already at very, very low levels down here. Now the daily time frame is the most important time frame up here. You can see the yesterday's volume was pretty high. I mean, it was insanely high, and the question is, will today's volume also be that high? Altcoins, like I said, are, you know, doing pretty bad, like 20-30% downside. Let me just show you some kind of indicators down here. First of all, the RSI on the daily time frame is around 20 right now, and you gotta go pretty far back to get any kind of 20 levels on the RSI. This was, you know, the big dump down here after we hit 64,000 first time. This is the Corona dump down here. These two dumps down here was in some kind of a you know, pullback on the downside. This was capitulation phase previously. Now this capitulation phase, as you can see here, once we pull to these levels, it can persist for a while. You know, the dumpage, you know, capitulation persistence can persist on the low side for a very, very long time. So are we gonna get something like that over here right now, where we persist on these low RSI levels for a while down here, and where we see continuous dumping towards downside? That can happen, guys. That can happen, because capitulation phases, when they start dumping, all of these low levels don't mean that much, because it just keeps on dumping. People are selling, and you know, I'm really afraid right now that if we start breaking this 32,000 levels, I'm seeing this as a less kind of support for us right now that might bounce us towards the upside if we fail to, you know, hold this 34-35 levels. If we go down there, and if it doesn't hold on the daily time frame, if we for whatever reason break that on the downside, down here it's gonna be a quite big mess, guys, quite big mess. fast. Now it is pretty evident for everybody right now that it's not any kind of bullish times right now. Everything is bleeding towards the downside. Now we got, of course, a weekly time frame, important time frame up here. Let me go to another chart. I'm gonna show you up here. Now we previously have been saying that around 40 levels on the RSI, give or take 40 levels on the RSI, that's some kind of bottom in some kind of uptrend, right? So you can go down to the 40 levels on the RSI, but you know, eventually you gotta bounce over. Here you see you went down to 40, you bounced off that. This is Corona dump, so you know you went back above that. Even this move towards the downside went down to 40 levels, but right now we are going below this 40 levels over here. And every time that happened, you can also see it be, you know, if you look at a bigger chart up here, more data up here of around 40 levels. On 40 levels on the RSI. Every time this happens, it's some kind of capitulation phase. So what we are going through right now, I think it's some kind of capitulation phase up here. You can see here, this is 2017 dump down here. Down here, that's the capitulation phase. Down here, it you know, it started up here, but you know, it can, you know, go pretty far down after it starts, because these levels below 40 on the weekly time frame, they can persist over time, and same goes down here as well, over here where we went below the 40 levels, and right now we are doing that as well. So it is really hard to argue that, you know, that this is any kind of bull market. I mean, it is bleeding definitely towards downside, and it, you know, it's not just Bitcoin bleeding towards downside, everything is bleeding towards downside. Also, we got a bearish cross on the MACD, like over here, not bearish cross, but you know, we are crossing the zero line on the weekly time frame. It looks bad, guys. It looks bad. Like, there is no other way to say it than bad. And the only hope I have right now is some kind of bounce out of this level 34, 35 levels down here towards the upside, or if we for whatever reason close this candle up here. You can see here it's bouncing a little bit towards the upside. It's trying to get back above these support levels up here, but if we start, you know, if we close this daily candle below 34.5, I would say below here, down here, if you close below 34.7, give or take, if you close this daily candle down here, I would be looking at 31, 32 levels, and then, you know, depends whether we're gonna, you know, hold these levels on the downside as well. It does look interestingly bad. The question is, how far can this dump continue? Now, there are certain lines, and I don't know if you have been watching Crypto or something like that. They've been, you know, talking about this falling wedge up here. Now, I'm not really in the falling wedge, you know, falling wedge kind of guy on this chart exactly, because it to me doesn't look like a falling wedge. It's just too long, but it doesn't matter. This line, upper line, doesn't matter. The bottom line is legit support line, and you can see down here it starts up here and it holds it really nicely several times. Now this line goes towards downside, and when you break these kind of trend lines that go towards downside, you increase the speed. So that's why we are dumping big time right now, and the dump is continuing because we are breaking very important support lines as well, trend support lines as well towards downside. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have any good news. I'm not the bringer of the good news right now. The hopium is probably on some other channel, not my channel. But you know, we are looking at short-term moves right now over here, and right now it is going towards downside. Is there any kind of hopium right now over here? Let's see in the 1 hour time frame. We are maybe getting this, you know, final wick towards downside. The wick is actually quite nice right now. It is recovering a little bit. I mean, it is 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes up here. It's using 20 minutes to get it back up here, but you know, we have to see how the reaction is gonna go, because this is a long-term process. And you know, since we are dumping this fast up, you know, you can get these, you know, moves towards the upside where you continue dumping eventually back down again. Like over here, you can see we dumped pretty fast towards downside. We hit some kind of support and then bounced back up again. Try to, you know, go back, but you know, it kind of goes sideways. Then you lose the supports, go back to the previous support down here, lose that, and you know, continue falling further towards downside. So this is definitely not finished yet. And when is this gonna be finished? Well, you know, certain downtrend needs to be broken. Let's see up here. A certain downtrend needs to be broken. I think it's something like this up here. I would assume assume like it's 20 moving average on 20, give or take 20 moving average. This red line up here, the 20 moving average on 1 hourly time frame. I mean, somehow we need to get back, you know, jump back above that right now. The line goes something like up from here towards downside. You can see this is the downtrend that's right now pushing us toward. This is a short-term downtrend, and until this line is actually broken towards the upside, I definitely don't see any kind of move, you know, further move, you know, further recovery right now. So what we are looking at right now is, you know, how far can this drop on the downside? So like I said, the support line that we are trying to hold or get back above right now is between 34.5 and 35.5. That's up here. But if we for whatever reason close on the downside here on the daily time frame, maybe even on the 4-hourly time frame, and start closing down here, I am looking at 31 and 32 as the final support that's gonna hold on this move towards downside. I don't think this move on the downside can bring us down to some kind of 20,000. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think if we fall down here, I think we're gonna see 31, 32, then maybe some kind of consolidation, and then there is probability to, you know, continue towards downside. But this consolidation has to happen before we continue towards downside, because some levels are very, very overextended on the downside. And how this is going to actually play out, it's really, really hard to say. The trend line needs to be broken. Trend line is still not broken. Still a big downtrend. Looks bad, guys. Unfortunately, looks bad. And don't get me started on the stock market. Stock markets looks terrible as well. So, you know, what's happening in the world, guys? What's happening in the world? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to try to keep you updated with these videos. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, stuff like that. And you don't have to hit the like button, like, who likes bad news, right? Who likes bad news? But I'll try to post a little bit more often right now. I don't know if I'm gonna do live streams or something like that, but you know, if I do, you know, check that out as well. You know, if there comes any kind of big move. This is a big move, so I thought I should do a quick update on it, you know, but I don't see any kind of significant happening right now. I think if we start getting to 31, 32, that'd be a very significant level. But you know, crossing below this support line is significant, but you know, it's not confirmed just yet. We can still recover from this, but this recovery down here, this green candle up here, it's not actually, you know, giving me any kind of confidence that we can do it, because oftentimes when you have these kind of big pulls towards the upside, recovery should be explosive towards the upside, and right now it's just not quite there yet. I'm gonna keep you posted. Do, you know, subscribe, do hit notification bell button and all, and there we go, a little bit more towards the upside. So we're gonna see if this can actually pull through towards the upside. It is trying definitely to go up. Maybe this is some kind of V-shaped recovery up here. We need to get back above the support here at 35.5. If we can do that, maybe we can get break this line up here again. And you know, but it is kind of slow. It is kind of slow. And this move towards the upside, the volume is kind of, you know, the volume is not saying that we are actually gonna, you know, go towards the upside right now. So I'm only still a little worried, you know, for this pump up here. I don't think there has been enough capitulation right now, but I mean, people are already capitulating, guys. People are already capitulating. But I'm gonna tell you guys, the real capitulation is down here. The real capitulation is below 31k down here. I think even Michael Saylor might capitulate below these levels. I mean, this gonna be bad down here, right? That's gonna be real bad. So I don't want to fall below these levels. I hope for some kind of pump before we actually do that. But you know, these capitulation moves, they can be really bad and drastic towards the downside. Just saying that. Anyways, guys, see you around. Bye-bye.